Do you ever feel like you have lost part of yourself, or like maybe something is missing, or you wake up in the morning with a heavy stomach, heavy heart? Ever since I've became a mom 10 months ago, I found myself exactly in that position. I feel like I kind of lost part of myself, and right now I'm on a mission to find my spark again, to reinvent myself, just to feel like myself again. And that's what I want to bring you along with because I don't want you to waste your potential. Instead, I want to help you create real change and start going after what you want. Maybe it's starting your health journey, starting that blog, starting that YouTube, going traveling, asking for a promotion, whatever it is. I hope that this video will help you get there faster because you deserve it. And I want to help you gain clarity over how to get there and how to do it with much more ease and less worrying and hustling around. Today, we're not just going to talk about some mindset shifts you can do in order to change your life. I'm really going to be sharing with you the exact strategy that I am using to actually achieve my goals, to reinvent myself so that we can actually get there. Because maybe in the past, you tried to go after some of your dreams to reach some of your goals, but you didn't get to where you want to go. And this may be because you didn't work on shifting your identity. Whenever we want to change something, shifting your identity is a big part of it. We first want to shift our identity so that then our reality can match up to it. Until now, you probably have done it the other way around. That's kind of like the norm how it is. We wait for our circumstances to change, wait for our reality to change before we internally change. Shifting that identity of yourself, your self image, is the foundation of real lasting change because how you see yourself, which is your self image, affects how you act, how you think, how you feel, and ultimately how you create your reality. All of which play a big part in creating the change that you so desperately want. We often, as I mentioned, think that once our reality, our environment change, we will change, that we will become who we always wanted to be. Think maybe about your past health goals. Maybe in the past you tried to get stronger and leaner, but you didn't get to where you wanted to go. And now you might be thinking that you will never be able to do that. You will never succeed, that it's just not for you, that you never feel confident because you look the way you do, all those sorts of things. So if you think like that about yourself, it's already like a self-image that isn't supporting you, that's not helping you to get to where you want to go. If that kind of self-image, limiting thoughts keep coming up, that will lead to self-sabotage, and you end up in that cycle that you're probably in right now. You start setting goals, you start taking a little bit of action, but you fall off the wagon because you don't really see yourself as that kind of person that you want to become because your external reality is not matching it yet. Ultimately, the way you see yourself dictates where you will go in life. And that's why it is crucial that you start working on your self-image along with the steps that we are going to take now. The strategy that we discuss now involves taking action in terms of shifting your identity, but also action steps that really move the needle. During my health coaching certification, we learned about this strategy called the GAP strategy. And this strategy wants us to identify three things. First, we want to identify where we are now, how our current reality looks like. Then we want to identify how our ideal reality looks like, where we want to go. And the third step involves looking at the gap. What needs to change to get from A to B? What needs to change or what we need to do in order to fill up that gap? To find out where we are right now. So step number one, we want to do a little life audit. We want to become aware of all the areas of our lives that are serving us, where we feel satisfied in, but also those that feel like we're lacking in, that could be better. And one tool that I like to use, but you don't have to, it's really a powerful tool. So you can either use this tool called the Circle of Life, or you can just simply ask yourself some questions. So the Circle of Life is a tool to help you find out the satisfaction you have in each areas of your life, because we have so many areas that are part of our life, be it relationship, our home environment, nutrition, or physical activity, education, personal development, whatever it is, like those areas are unique to you. Of course, you can go onto Google, which is the first step in creating your circle of life, and find already pre-made circles to fill out. There's circles with 8, 10, 12 areas. So choose whatever suits you. Change up some areas so that they fit to you, because maybe some things aren't relevant, like education. Maybe you already gone through your university studies. maybe you want to change it to personal development. So once you have that circle, you want to go through each area and rate it based from a scale to 1 to 10. And 10 is the outside of the circle, and 0 would be, or 1 would be in the middle of the circle. And you place a dot along the line for each area. And once you've done that, you want to connect all the dots so that it creates your circle of life. And the goal is not to have a perfectly round circle, because your circle may be like zigzags, because some areas are more satisfying. You're more happy with some areas than others. The goal is not to create a perfect circle, because that's not possible. The goal is then to create a balance. Maybe an area that is important for you, maybe like nutrition at the moment, is rated low, but you would rather have it higher for you to feel better. This circle represents or gives you a visual idea of your current reality. And then along that, we can ask ourselves some questions. But if you don't want to do the circle, you can also just ask yourself those questions and journal about them. And here are some prompts to help you with it. I also will have some more linked down in the show notes, so be sure to get access to more journaling prompts to help you through the whole strategy. So ask yourself questions like, what does your life look like right now? How does your identity look like? How do you see yourself? How do you currently feel? In which areas do you feel the most or the least nourished? So this is to give you some ideas. More questions are linked below. Before we dive into the next step, I want to highlight something very, very important. When we do this exercise, or whenever we set goals or visions for ourselves, it's super important to think about the feelings that you want to feel, the feelings you feel now, and how you actually want to feel in your life. This is important because our emotions dictate how we show up in our life, and ultimately how we create our reality, how we shape our future. So that's why we want to make sure that we always think about the feelings we feel now and that we want to feel. Everything we want in life has an underlying emotional motivation. And this is the most powerful motivation that keeps us going, really, to shift our feelings, to focus on the emotional state. And one more thing I want to mention here to this point is that when we look at our life, especially when we reflect on the things that don't serve us, the things that we are unhappy with, it's easy to start getting into a place of negativity. And that's where we want to be careful of. So whenever you find out stuff about your current reality that you're not happy with, try to not end up in a mindset of, I should have done that, I should already be there, I should have already been further along, because this just creates desperate energy. And also, whenever you think like that, it's easy to start thinking like, I'm a failure. Instead, start to be gentle with yourself and realize that you are not a failure because you didn't do certain things or you didn't achieve certain things yet. You just failed at maybe taking action, and that's normal. We all struggle with things, and just try to accept the past for what it is instead of dwelling it. Otherwise, it will keep you stuck and will not help you shift your identity, right? It will keep you in an identity of making you feel small and making you feel like a failure. And now, once we have assessed our current reality, of course, we want to start looking at our desired future. And for here again, I will give you some prompts, and more will be linked down in the show notes. So some questions you can ask yourselves are, what does your dream life look like? What are you doing? Where are you in your life? Who are you hanging out with? Try to draw a picture of your dream reality in as much detail as possible, and especially emphasize, as I mentioned, on the feeling. Another question you can ask yourself is, what do you want to do? What projects, what actions, what new hobbies, what do you want to start doing in your dream reality? Or what are you doing in your dream reality? So be it a new hobby, traveling, a new career, think about it and write it down so that you can create a better picture of your desired future. Because the more clear your vision is, the more motivating it can be, and the more it will help you also to identify the gap to what needs to change in order for you to feel more fulfilled, to feel more happy, to feel like yourself, to find your spark again. And the last question, how do you want to feel? Do you want to feel joyful? Do you want to feel excited? Do you want to feel at ease, courageous, empowered, energized? Think about how you want to feel and maybe what would help you feel that way. Like, what in the future is going to make you feel that way? If your vision, if your goals don't light you up, don't make you excited, then it probably means that this goal could be not your goal, but maybe someone else's goal, someone else's goal for you. Because if it's truly something you want, it's going to light you up. But if you feel like, yeah, it's okay, if you feel like, okay, it's probably not your goal, right? There will be hard days, and sometimes it is hard to stay on track, but thinking about the feelings in the future will help you. Now, lastly, for the strategy itself, we want to fill that gap. We want to become aware of what needs to change, what we need to do to get from A to B. So again, some prompts to help you are, how are those two realities different? How is your current life different from your future life? What changes need to be made? What things are different? What can you shift? Who is the version of you who already lives the life that you want to live? So who is that identity of yourself, the identity you need to adopt that already lives the life you want to live? Who do you need to become to get to where you want to be? How does that person's daily life look like? How do her actions look like, her routines? How would your ideal self think, act, feel? The last one is, what do you need to let go of? What do you need to heal? Because sometimes, of course, change involves healing, and especially shifting your identity involves healing. Now, once we have all that clarity, what do we do with it? Well, of course, we want to start taking action. And again, important, make sure that you don't dwell into the energy of should and start to feel bad about yourself for not being at point B yet, because it's not going to help you in any ways. Instead, we want to start taking action step by step. So for this, we want to find our priorities. What area is the most urgent? What area do you want to work on first? Because if you try to do everything at the same time, it's going to be overwhelming and it's not going to help you. Maybe in the past that's what you tried to do. Like for me, it was often like that I tried to change things all at the same time. And while it may take longer to do things step by step, it's truly what will help us to stay on track, to reach a new milestone, to keep on feeling motivated, because trying to do everything at once is overwhelming and potentially will push you off track and take motivation away. And once you identified your priorities, start taking action towards achieving more satisfaction in that area. And these actions that you take should reflect the actions, behaviors, thoughts of the person that you want to become, right? Because we want to also shift our identity. And by starting to integrate exactly those habits that the ideal version of yourself would be doing, you start to create proof that you are that kind of person. You start to shift your identity step by step, because of course we can plan out how we want to shift our reality and our identity, but without taking action, nothing is going to change. And actually, I want to mention that each action step that you take is evidence for yourself that you are that kind of person, that you are becoming that person, that you are the person who reaches her goals, that you are the person who wakes up in the morning, goes for a run, you are the person who focuses on a balanced diet, who focuses on nourishing her body, all those sorts of things, whatever your goal is. Over time, those actions then become natural, they become ingrained habits, so that everything happens automatic because they have become part of your identity. As August Bradley so wisely said, every action step you take is a vote towards the person you want to become. Besides taking those concrete action steps, we also want to make sure that we stay in the right mindset so that we can stay on track, stay motivated even when things get tough. So for this, you can maybe create a visual vision board or a Pinterest board, which is pretty much similar to the vision board, but you can always add on stuff that represents your ideal life. You can maybe create a playlist that keeps the momentum going, that gets you motivated, that reminds you why you're doing those things and where you want to go. Because of course, the more you do things, the easier it gets, but especially at the beginning, some tools to help you stay in the right mindset could be helpful. And as you continue to take those action steps, always remember that every step you take is an affirmation towards the person you want to become. And building a new identity, building that new reality is a journey that takes time. And with each action, you're casting a vote towards the person you want to become. I really hope those insights, strategies, and the whole thing that I talked about is going to inspire you and it's going to help you get to where you want to become. I myself am doing as I mentioned, my project, Finding My Spark Again, Reinventing Myself, and I will be sharing this journey over on Instagram. So if you want to see how things are going for me, come follow along. I will link the profile down in the show notes. Remember, transformation is a process and it's okay to take one step at a time.